Honestly, Reema, thank you so much for joining us on NEXUS Talks. It's honestly such a pleasure. Already, you've thrown a curveball at me, and I love that. We're going to take it back, though, and find out a bit more about you. So, how it all started. So, you have been a creative director for a long time, started off as a TV producer. How did you even get into the world of TV? I'm so interested to hear this.
So, a little bit about me, right? So, I'm Reema. I'm from India. I've been a creative director for a couple of years now. And before that, I've transitioned into several roles, whether it was a project head or an executive producer in different capacities at different production houses. Currently, I'm in LA. I'm doing my MBA in digital communication, and completely excited for this journey and this ride. It's been a roller coaster ride. I started very early when I was 17 years old, and I started my journey when I was working as an intern for a news channel. And that was crazy because when you work in a news channel, you're practically doing everything, right? You start off with writing your own scripts, shooting your own scripts. There were times they told me you got to anchor because we don't have the anchor's not showing up for the day. So you host this. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that, and editing your content. So you're basically running the whole show, right? So I think at a very initial stage of my career, I kind of got lucky with, people who pushed me to, just learn everything. And that was the moment I was certain that, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. I want to make shows that have an impact. I want to make, whether it's movies or whether it's films or whether it's, OTT or it's television. I want to do stuff that makes a difference. And I think that's where the journey started. I did a lot of projects with, production houses like Indomall. I think that's one of the key initial, production houses I worked with. It was really interesting because at 23, I was working as an executive producer and working on shows like Fear Factor and Big Brother, international formats, which are, very, very challenging to produce that kind of adapt to Indian sensibilities, right? So they were very marquee projects in my life. And gradually I realized that, running it as an executive producer, there's a lot of creativity that kind of goes in problem solving, which was my sweet spot. I realized that if I understood the creatives, I could then solve the problem better in terms of logistics, right? I could better understand the budget. I could make the entire show more, not just visually amazing, but also make sure that, we meet a certain budget and a certain margin is better and we make profits, right? So I think knowing and understanding the market in terms of all aspects is so important for people, who are entering in the space of media. Because if you just enter and you're like, okay, this is what I want to be and this is all I want to do, and you kind of, disregard the other aspects of making a show, you kind of are limited in terms of your input. So I feel it's very important to learn constantly and be very open to, feedback and just grasp on the way. Every day is a new day. So it's a fantastic journey to kind of take forward. So that's how my journey began. And becoming a creative director for me has been an amazing journey. I think the power to actually tell a story, the power to actually, create your own format, it's phenomenal. We take it lightly. Like today, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm working on this show and, I'm creating this format. But when you got to think about it and you actually kind of, in your time and you sit back and you think, you actually have the power to impact people, right? You actually have the power to change just the thought process, maybe not really, change lives. That's too dramatic, but, try and change the thought process, at least, in the smallest way possible. So I think that is the power. And I think that is it drives me every single day. And I think that's a beautiful journey to kind of embark on.
That's so brilliant. And you're right, Reema, when you say like, not every show is going to change lives, but definitely it changes thought process. Think of how hooked people get on new Netflix series or new reality shows. People are invested.
Yes.
So it's almost like they've got a stake in the program, like they invest with the characters or the personalities, and it does become almost like an obsession or even a way to connect, for sure.
Very true. Very true. And, it's about those stories that you tell. If you're able to, touch a few people with your real and authentic stories, and if you think that, they can probably, have some kind of, a change in the way they think or the way they process things. Just very small, minute things, I think, make a difference. So I think it's media is it's like a ray of hope, for the future. If you, that's the way I look at it. It's that tiny crack that maybe can bring about a change. So I think we should really respect and value that we have the ability to be here and just have the power to do it. So yeah, it's incredible.
I love your outlook on that. I really, really appreciate that outlook. So I have to ask, because you're making it sound so easy, and I know this job is anything but easy. So what are the most challenging parts of your role, would you say?
Okay. So I think the most challenging part about being a creative director is being updated constantly. It's very, very important for you to stay slightly ahead of the curve. Read, research, watch, as much as you consume is better. Because remember, I always look at one thing, that today my viewer is probably on a screen for at least 5 to 6 hours average consuming content, right? So you gotta be ahead of that. You gotta be someone who is being able to process and think and create ahead of that time, right? So you have to be very updated with what you're doing. You have to know, a lot more. You have to read and just kind of make sure that you're ahead of the curve. The other very important aspect is, I think, being very disciplined. I think it's important for all aspects, for all careers, for anything you do in life. I think discipline is something which you can't teach. It either exists or it doesn't. Right?
Wow.
And if you're passionate, truly passionate about what you're doing, it just comes natural. You don't have to try hard. So I think discipline, being visionary, not having an ego, listen to your teammates. I love it whenever I'm in a position to, have meetings with my teammates. I love to hear what the intern has to say. I love it. For me, it just sometimes I'm like, oh my God, this is interesting, and they just surprise you. Suddenly they'll be like, I saw this on social media, or, maybe you should watch this. And it'll be completely off what I have seen or I have kind of, consumed.
Right.
So just be very open to feedback, to what people have to say, because I think it's a team effort. It's not one person who's doing anything, right? It's like a crew of like 50, 100, 200, depending on what the show is. So I think being very open to, feedback and not having an ego it just takes you a long way. So
yeah, that sounds amazing. It's very rare that you hear people that want to hear what the intern has to say. Like, honestly, I interned because I used to be a teacher, and then I completely quit. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do this. I want to go work into media. So I started from the beginning. I didn't have a clue about anything. And it was very tough trying to get heard by certain people. So it's so lovely to hear you say that.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. I remember reading it somewhere. Everybody kind of walks around with just feeling that, are they even important to this equation, right?
Right.
And if you start if you can make somebody realize that every minute that they spend on your set, it matters and it's of value, and you can actually probably have a value addition in your team as an effort. I think those things are just I think they just add to the energy or the vibe of a set. It's unified, so that energy is kind of different. So yeah.
Reema, I know that you've worked on a lot of sets. I did my research and I've seen that you've worked on a lot of shows. So I have to ask, what is your proudest moment, or what's your favorite show, if you can pick, that you've ever worked on?
Okay. That's a tough one.
That's
a question. It's a very tough one. I've done quite a few projects, almost maybe 40, 45 projects. So it's hard.
Just a few.
Just a few. But no, I still feel every day is a new day and a learning process. I don't think that's enough. I think, I mean, I don't want to ever think that, I've done so much in my life. No, I haven't. I'm still starting off. I want to start fresh every day. Yeah. I don't want to kind of ever feel that I've done more or, done enough. But if I was to choose one particular show, I think I would go with one of my recent shows that I worked on, which is called MTV Hustle.
Okay.
So basically, the one-liner of the show is it was about finding the next rap sensation in the country. A lot of original music, a lot of rapping. It was very, very fun, cool vibe. Okay? But the reason why it's very close to my heart is because it had a very strong message. The way we kind of put across rap was not just entertainment. It was about the right kind of messaging. So you had the young rappers of the country, beautiful talent, fantastic people, talk about, whether it was bullying in school, or whether it was farmer suicides, or it was rape, or it was very, very hard hitting and real conversations, right? And imagine those young kids writing songs about this and communicating this in a platform where you almost, it became like a revolution where people started actually talking about their problems and were not shy about it. We're not kind of, feeling that it makes us any lesser, when you talk about your problems and your problems. So I think, like I was talking about, small impacts and small things that kind of bring about a difference and the right kind of messaging. It's super hard. It's super hard to do it with entertainment and excitement and make sure you get numbers. And it's very hard. But if you hit that sweet spot, I feel like that's when, as a creator, you just feel very happy about those journeys. So I think that would be one project that I would really, I feel has kind of been amazing.
What was the age range of the rappers?
So they ranged between 18 to 26, 27.
Wow.
Young.
Yeah. And that's just so lovely as well, because, people always think if you're not in the rap world, you think it's literally just the stereotypical about women or about money. But as you said, they've turned it into something so powerful. That sounds amazing. And when you were working on that show or even other shows, what's like one of the hardest things you've had to encounter during a show or production or anything, like filming it?
So nonfiction in general is hard, right? Because
right.
Every day you walk into set and you're like, oh my God, there's a new problem I had. How do I solve this? But I think that's also the fun part. That's the reason why I love nonfiction. I love to kind of, challenge myself in a space where I'm like, oh, okay, let's now think of a new way to to find a solution to this problem. If I track back, there was this one show we had done. It was called Troll Police. It was basically about, just to give you one liner, it was about a confrontation between a troll and a celebrity. Okay, so you're talking about cyberbullying. You're talking about these secret, keyboard warriors, so to say, who are, secretly going in and writing, on your post, or saying mean things to you, whether it's body shaming or whether it's slut shaming or whether it's about a relationship you're having. Basically, trolling you about anything in your career, in your life, in your, just if you're a woman, especially, you get trolled a lot. So we spoke about, so the idea basically was an internal format. Like, it's important to talk about this because people are doing this and no one's really taking trolling as seriously as it should be taken. Because why should anybody, and especially celebrities, get trolled all the time? And it's not like normal girls don't, but celebrities get trolled a lot more. So why not be in a position to kind of talk about how do we change that? And why would somebody troll you? Like, what is the psychological thought process somebody's going through to actually do that to you, right? So the concept of the format, when we internally discussed it with our teams, whether it was the legal team or the creative team, and they were like, you cannot execute this show. We were very sorry. It's a great idea on paper, but sorry, this is not possible because you cannot legally hack into someone's account. You cannot legally follow somebody. So there are many areas which are of concern when it comes to the legal aspect of it, right? So these trollers have fake accounts, so they're not going by the real name. So you have to somehow track to who they probably are friends with on that account, then track to where they've probably last kind of put in their check-in, what their location is. So you have to do a bit of ethical hacking, so to say, right?
/ detective work.
stuff that is legal, stuff that
it's legal respective word.
Right? I had no idea about this, honestly. Then it was very new to me. I didn't know, the nitty-gritties of what ethical hacking is, right?
Oh.
And I think me and my team were like, no, this format has to happen. Let's get into research mode. Let's make sure, we read up everything in terms of what the lawyers have to say, what kind of case studies we have. Everything. Went into a full lawyer mode and did our research and had multiple meetings where you're literally sitting in a boardroom. And it's very intimidating when you're in these settings, okay? You're sitting in a boardroom where there are like these 18 lawyers who are representing the company and they're like, okay, so you cannot do this format, blah, blah, blah. These are the reasons. I'm like, okay, how do I defend that?
Yeah, cool.
So I think that was one of the most interesting, shows that I made because we actually managed to make the show. It won multiple awards critically and even otherwise. So I think being that, taking that extra step and going with the conviction that you have in a format is something which I really, I cherish from that particular show. So yeah.
You are an absolute boss woman, because for a second there, I thought you were going to say we had to change the format and, make it a bit more scripted. But you're like, no, we did it. And we won awards. That's amazing. I can just tell, like, from the way you speak and how you're talking about these things, that you are probably the top problem solver. Like, I've been in rooms where it's like, oh no, how are we going to do this? So it's just so brilliant that you found a way to ethically hack. I love that.
I try. I think being innovative is important and not giving up is important. Learning is important. And those are the only things I stick by. Just keep at it.
I love that, Reema. Honestly, it's so brilliant. And I need to ask, if you could work on any show that you wanted, whether it's been created or not, obviously I don't think you ever want to give your special ideas away, but what show would you love to work on?
As much as I love the kind of content that's there out now, because I think it's, especially COVID changed a lot of things in terms of not just consumption, but just the number of shows that are out. And it's beautiful. The the palette is amazing. It's fantastic. I don't know if I want to say one particular show, there'd be too many.
Yeah.
To be honest, for me, the real happiness and the real challenge lies in creating something from scratch. It's always been something that I try to do. I try to, create my own formats and do new things wherever I go. And that for me, I feel is more rewarding and it's just more satisfying, And there are days that your show will flop. It will not do well. It will not rate. It will, have absolutely no value in the plethora of shows that are running. But the happiness in creating something from scratch, I think, has its own charm. And for me, especially at the stage that I am in right now, I think that is very important. I want to do something for Meta. I want to do something in the PR space. I'm trying to, apart from the MBA, I'm trying to read up as much as I can on PR storytelling, and just trying to, try and do something which is going to be drastic and different, and just excites me and the viewer at the end of the day.
That's so brilliant. And do you want to tell us a little bit then about your decision to take the MBA? I know we discussed it a little bit before, but tell us what made you want to think, you know what, I'm going back to school.
Okay, so that's actually quite a crazy story. I'm going to say that. So after I quit MTV on June 2021, after almost like 6 years with MTV as a creative director, I got a phenomenal opportunity, dream job, to work on this project for Dharma, which is basically a #1 production house. And they were producing a show for Netflix at that point. So working for Netflix as a creative director is an amazing opportunity. And that's what I actually wanted to do. And I got I got the opportunity to do it. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is, all I wanted. I started the project. It was almost a couple of months that, I developed it. It was going beautifully. However, there was a point where there was a personal commitment that kind of came into the picture. And I couldn't, say no to it. I was in this dichotomy of choosing personal and professional decision. It was very hard. It's the hardest place to be in. It was probably the first time that I was in a situation like this where I had to choose. Right. And it was hard because I had my dream job on one hand, and I had a family situation on the other. So it was kind of like the worst decision to make.
Yeah.
But I chose my family. I actually had to come and be with my sister. So I did that. She's in the US. I quit my job. I flew to the US. And that's where the story actually began, because it was the first time I was, I had the time to be still. I had the time to think. I had the time to process. I had time to really evaluate my life, because there was no call time. There was no sending emails. There was no like waking up and like, going crazy in terms of, what is happening on the show, what's happening on the show. It was none of that. It was just so much calmness and stillness. And it was scary at the beginning. I was like, I don't even know how I feel about, not going to work every day. It's very hard. Because when you've been working for so long, it's you have a routine. It's very hard to not have that routine.
Yeah.
But I think that stillness just made me realize what my true calling was. What I needed to do more. I just knew I needed to do more, and I don't think I still have the answer. I just knew that I had to do more than what I had done so far, and I needed to change my life drastically, because these times are very critical. If you don't take those decisions, if you go back to doing what you're doing, your life is going to be the same.
Mm.
And I wanted to change my life. I wanted it to be drastic. So I actually took off on a vacation. I traveled. So started off with Hawaii. It was beautiful.
That's amazing.
I think traveling solo just does that to you, because you start talking to yourself a lot and you start listening to yourself a lot more, because it's just you having all your lists by yourself. So you listen to yourself and your thought process. So I think that was the transition for me, where I was like, you know what? I think I should study. I think I should, change things around. So I started applying while I was on my vacation. I said, let's use this time. And I started applying to colleges, and I flew back after a good 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And realized, okay, and I got an admission. I got my visa done, and I'm here. I'm in LA now, and I'm actually studying. And I'm so happy. I'm back to the learning curve, back to starting life from scratch, giving up my house, giving up my family, my friends, everything. But I think I'm ready to kind of embark on this journey. And I've been lucky. I'm in LA. I'm very close to Hollywood. It can't get better than this.
Exactly. And you know what, Reema? I love that you're like the living example of the fact that in the creative industry, your role will always evolve. People think that it's just an end goal. Once you sit there, that's where you're going to stay until the end of time. And I love that you said you want to go towards the digital marketing space, and you want to change your life and you want to do something different. And I think so many people in the creative industry need to hear that, because sometimes we feel like it's a destination rather than understanding that it's going to constantly change.
Change is the only constant. It literally is. And I think if you don't evolve every day with that thought process, if you don't go to bed every day thinking, oh my God, I have to learn something new tomorrow and be a better human being and be a better professional, then you're limiting yourself. And that's no fun. that's just no fun.
No.
So yeah.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. And I wanted to ask then, so for people that might listen to this and are in a similar position to you, or want to work in the space that you're in, what do you think are the necessary qualities? You've mentioned that you have to always be open to learning and you've got to consume a lot of content, but what else do you think is necessary to succeed?
So showing up starts with that. Make sure you're always early or on time.
Yeah.
No, I think the bigger aspects are definitely, it comes with research, it comes with learning, it comes with being open-minded. Having a certain kind of vision is very important. When you have a certain vision for your team or your show, it starts with just knowing that this is what I want to kind of build. This is my universe and this is what I want to build. If you have an idea about that, and if it's joint effort that kind of goes into building that, it just automatically makes the product more exciting and it makes your journey more exciting. So being real, being authentic, very, very important, very, very key to your journey, because you're telling your story. So if I'm telling you my story, if I'm not real about it, or if I'm not authentic with who I am, or if I'm not sure of who I am, if I don't know who I am, I can never tell you anything that's going to, have any kind of impact on you, right? So I think being real, being authentic, knowing who you are, really knowing who you are it's hard, but that's the process of learning, how to kind of be a better creative resource to any company that you're with. And be fearless, innovate, don't limit yourself to cultures, to people telling you, this is not right or that is not right. Do not be scared, be fearless. I think that takes you a long way. So yeah, these are the main key qualities.
Reema, when we first started this conversation, you said to me that I've never done an interview before and I might need pauses. You literally owned this session. You didn't need to pause. You didn't need to do anything. Honestly, that was such a pleasurable talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm so happy.
Honestly, you absolutely smashed that. Thank you so much for joining us. And I've taken away so much. Genuinely, and I just know that all our listeners and anyone that watches this is definitely going to take away the same thing. So thank you so much for giving us your time.
Oh, thank you so much. I think gratitude goes a long way, and that's literally the only thing that keeps you going. So thank you, and thank you for choosing me. I don't even know how you guys got in touch. It stays a mystery. I was like, how did they even find me?
We're detectives like you, Red One. Detectives. Don't worry. But honestly, it's been such a lovely talk. And of course, once it's all out, we'll tag you in everything. And I guess all I can say is best of luck with your MBA. I can't wait to see what you do in the next few years.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much, Reema. Honestly, I really appreciate it.